Hi, I'm Chef Sharon, and welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be talking to you about knives, different types, what they're used for, and how to properly care for and store them. So let's get started. You'll notice here I have several different types. First one we're going to talk about is the chef's knife. This is the workhorse of the kitchen. This is what chefs use about 90% of the time. This is a standard sized 10-inch chef's knife. They do come larger or slightly smaller in an 8-inch. Next one up, serrated or bread knife. However, this has a lot more uses than just for bread. So I like to use it not only for bread and sandwiches, but to slice things like ripe tomatoes, things that are really soft that you might have trouble with your chef's knife. Also good for if you're a baker, chopping chocolate. Serrated knife works great for chopping chocolate. And last but not least, this little one here, a paring knife. This is for small work, close-up things, hulling strawberries, coring tomatoes, deveining shrimp, also good paring knife. So those are the three standard types that I use most often in my kitchen. However, you will notice I have two different chef's knives here. This one is a forged knife. This means the metal is rolled and folded and shaped into the blade and then sharpened. So that's pretty standard for professional chefs. This is a stamped knife. Stamped knives are less expensive. They're made from a sheet of metal and the shape of the blade is punched out and then it's inserted into the handle. So they are less expensive, but that doesn't necessarily make them bad knives. This is a good quality stamped knife, which you can find. This is a brand I like. It's Victorinox. So if you want to get a chef's knife, but you're not so sure you want to make this kind of an investment, get one of these. These stamped knives are great. All right, now that we've discussed the different types of knives, let's talk about taking care of them. And part of taking care of them is maintaining a good edge on the blade. Now there's a difference between sharpening and honing. Sharpening, you've probably seen or even have a knife sharpener that mounts onto your counter and you pull the knife through and it gives it a good edge. The problem I see with those is that they're removing metal from the blade, and you don't necessarily need to do that every single time you want to put a nice edge on your knife. So what I recommend, this is a honing steel. A lot of times you'll hear it referred to as a sharpening steel, but it's actually a honing steel. So when you have a knife like this, it has a bevel on the edge of it. So think of it kind of like the edge of the knife if you were looking down it. It's like this. Now, as you use your knife, the bevel will tend to get bent one way or another, just a little bit, and it's enough to make your knife dull. So all you need to do is to bring that bevel back into true, and that's where a honing steel comes in. Okay, so you've got your knife and you've got your honing steel. Now, they recommend a 22-degree angle. Now, you don't have to get out your protractor. It's just easy enough to think about it like this. 90 degrees, 45, 22. So what you're going to do is you're going to start with the heel of the knife, and my knife is already sharp, so I'm not actually going to run it along this, but you're going to pull it back towards the tip, and then the same on the other side. You want to do this an equal number of times on each side to make sure that your edge is standing straight. Now, if you don't feel comfortable pulling your knife towards you like this, I have an easier way. You want a stable surface. I have a non-skid mat under my cutting board, towel, and you're going to put your honing steel like this, and then you're going to do the same thing. One way, then the other, even number of times, until you have a good edge. And you can tell you have a good edge. Now, you never want to run your finger down a blade this way, but you can, with no pressure, just on the edge like this. Now, if you do it before and after, you'll be able to tell a huge difference in the sharpness of your knife. And that's all there is to it. Now that you've taken the time to put a nice edge on your knife, you want to treat it nicely. So please, by all means, do not put your knives in the dishwasher. It doesn't matter if you spend a little money or a lot of money on your knives. Not putting in the dishwasher will make them last a lot longer. The detergent is not good on the blade, neither is banging around with other things, and it's really not safe to have a big old knife in your dishwasher. So just hand wash them, leave them to dry, and you're good to go. Don't put them into a big sink full of soapy water either. If you put them in the sink, they're in the bottom under the suds, you can't see them, also dangerous. So like I said, just one at a time, wash them and leave them to dry, and then they're all set to go for the next time. So now that you've taken the time to, wash your knives and they're all nice and you have a good edge on them, you want to store them properly as well. Some people use knife blocks. I don't have one because I don't have a lot of counter space and it just is taking up space that I want to use for other things. So what I have is a magnetic strip. These are easy to find, inexpensive, and you can mount them to the side of a cabinet or onto a wall where you have space. Then your knives are accessible, but they're up out of the way and you don't have to worry about them. Do not store them in a drawer. It's still the same kind of danger from the dishwasher. They can bang around and get damaged. Plus, it's dangerous for you to stick your hand into a drawer full of knives. Unless you have, I've seen drawers that have knife organizers in them. So they have slots that the knives fit in, then the blades are protected and you are protected from the blades, then that's okay. But otherwise, I just wouldn't do it. So there you have it, a little introduction to knives. If you have any questions, always feel free to ask, and I'll see you next time in my kitchen. Bye!